Hello, this is Right Side Trader. Today is March 21st, 2026. This is my weekly market review. We're reviewing S&P 500. That's SPY on a quarterly chart, monthly chart, weekly chart, and a daily chart. This is all for educational purposes only. No trade recommendation because, as we all know, trading is risky. You can lose money at trading. So please check with your financial advisor. Please check with your significant other and make sure trading is something that is suitable for you. All right, let me let you know right up front. All four indexes are now below the 9 or 10 moving average on your chart, whichever one you may have on your monthly chart. At this time, us technical traders say when we get a close below there, we look at the market as being in a bear market. I'm looking back here at this chart. We will see. We'll zoom in on that a little bit later, but I'm just letting you know right up front, all four indexes are below that point. So technically, at this time, we are in a bear market and all. So that's that. All right, let's jump over to these charts and see what we see on these. Let me zoom, maximize that. Let me maximize this, resize this, and on this quarterly chart, what do we see? We see a bearish engulfing at the right location and all right here. So again, bear market, bear market, bear market. Be careful, be careful, be careful. But look back here. We had the same thing before. First quarter, looking very bearish and all. We did get a nice little push down and all down to almost to a support 1 level, below a support 1 level. So there was some panic in the market, with some real fear in the market, but this market ended up screaming all the way back up and turning this thing back around and taking off. So again, pay attention to your trading plan, your trading strategies and all, and trade accordingly. And before we were above pivot, just like we are now. So again, this market, if we get start looking like we're getting a confirmation candle, which will be forming somewhat like that, just know anything can happen in this market. You know, this thing can actually really do something like what it did back here and slip, or it can do something like it did right here and just totally reverse on you. This is the big picture, though. So pay attention to what you're doing. You know, that's all I can say. No trade recommendations here at all. But let's go ahead and go down to our monthly chart and see what we see there and all. And this is when the big picture comes into play. You know, you get to see the big thing and all. On our monthly chart, what we see here on this monthly chart, this is where I'm saying we got this close below the 9-10 moving average. I'll zoom in here a little bit. Again, we are the bearish looking pattern that we had up here at the top. We have gotten confirmation with a cross below the 10. So that's really significant. But let me go ahead and zoom in here a little bit more where you can see what I'm really talking about here. There, that's better. We got bearish Harami, confirmation, below the 9-10 moving average, close below that and all. So that's what we see in here on this monthly chart at this time. We're getting near the end of the month, so next month look like we will be opening below pivot. That's the other thing that could be coming up coming the next weekend. We're going to have to really look at that and see where we're at, see if we're going to be opening below pivot. That means that we probably will get that slip down here to a support 1 before we get a bounce. So again, just be careful, be careful, be careful. Pay attention to your trading plans and your trading strategies and just trade accordingly. Let's go ahead and go down to our weekly chart and see what we see there. On our weekly chart, let me stop right there. I want to zoom in. This is right. Let's just take a quick look at this on the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, we got this. We've been having this downward trend here. Boom. Pretty good downward trend. We're getting close to the 50 moving average on the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, we already in past my support 3, my place where I like to see it give us a pretty good bounce. So now the next place where we can get a pretty good bounce is this 50 moving average line right here, this green line, or we had this little cluster back here and all that when it these two little areas here, this demand area here, and then when it came and clustered here and jumped out of there pretty good, you know. So that's what we're looking at, and that's where we are at right now. If I draw this across here like this, and all, we're right here at this little area here. Is this going to be a strong enough demand area to hold this market up? You know, it may slip into there a little bit, and that's where it comes down here to this 50 moving average. When it gets to this 50 moving average, will we get a bounce here? So that's what we're going to be watching for and see what's going to happen, you know, and just see. We're going to have to just wait and see what happens there. But that's pretty much it, what I see here on this weekly chart. And so let's go ahead and go down to our daily noise and wrap this on up. On the daily chart, one of the things that I had put on here was this 200 and this 50. I'm gonna zoom on in here a little bit. The significance of that, why I do that, my personal self. Again, once I see the market is below the 50 on a daily chart, bear trades, and I'll start selling, and I'll sell, and I can short the stock. I usually don't short stocks directly anymore, but I will sell those call spreads. I sell calls on my positions that I have in place if I haven't gotten out of them yet, and all. But I know I have to sell. I need to be collecting money because I'm most likely I am losing money on my positions and all, unless I just happen to be in something that's very bullish at the time. And I did have a couple of those, and also I'm kind of that keeps you good. But technically, 50 is below 50, time to sell. With expectation of it that it could fall to the 200 and all. Below the 200, what you kind of expect once you get on the daily chart, you start getting panic and all once you get below the 200. So that's why those are on there. But let's zoom in just a little bit more and take a closer look at things here on this right now. As you can see, this is expiration week. That's what this line is right here. Monday, Tuesday is those two candles right there. It looked like we were in a free fall. We was kind of wondering, had we hit a bottom and would we get a bounce at all? We got a little bit of a bounce on Monday, then we had a gap up and came back down. But what you see is almost like an evening star, and you got followed through on that evening star that ended up closing below the 200 that day. So that should have been your warning sign right there. This thing is ready to drop. It dropped below the 200 and all. And the thing that I'll be concerned about come next week is, will we end up with panic in the market come next week since we're below the 200? We're going to be below the 200. We're going to be below the 200, which is this red line. And all, unless this market gaps up crazy come, Monday morning and all. And the other thing is we're going to be below pivot. So again, I do kind of expect if we don't get the gap up, before the market opens, I kind of expect there's going to be panic in the market, and then this thing is going to continue to slide. And also be careful. And all, this is not a dip yet that you should be. No trade recommendation. Again, just be careful. That's all I can say. But that's pretty much it. That's all I have today. This is Right Side Trader. You guys have a great week. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next week. Have a good one. Bye.